beautiful. Okay, g'day guys. We're here for another live video today, and with a special guest today. So we're here with Jason Chin of Excel Performance here in the gym based in Wollongong. And we're going to have a little conversation around athletic conditioning, athletic training, common mistakes that athletes make, and a bit about Jason's experience and him as a trainer and what he's sort of picked up over the years and what he's seen over the years. So just if you could just give the listeners, Jace, just a little bit of an intro about who you are and your approach you take with your athletes and what sort of athletes it is that you train.
Yeah, so I've been doing strength and conditioning now for quite a while. I've been in the training people game for close to 10 years, almost coming up to around 10 years. So what I do predominantly is I train athletes. So I train young athletes in particular. So anywhere from, I like to start training the guys from around 12 to around 18, because I think that's a really awesome sort of like age group for training, because it really gets you into a position where we can find these guys when they are still developing, they're still finding their feet as athletes, and you know, they've got underlying weaknesses that they don't know about, their coach doesn't know about, no one knows about. But they only find out once they play the game, they get injured, and then they go see the physiotherapist, and the physio finds, oh, this was weak all along, or like all this time, and this, you can fix it, and that's cool. But then you know, our job is to actually find find that before that even becomes a problem, because that essentially is, for the most part, that's what holds people back from improving their athletic abilities, improving their the ability to run faster, jump higher, whatever, is that weakness, and that's why they broke. That's what stopped them from getting better. So I believe that all athletes deserve to be prepared for their sport, and so that's what I do. I prepare athletes for their sport, make sure they're generally strong, generally fit, all well-rounded, and then when they go out to play, that they're liable just to go in and do extremely well. And if they do get injured, they get injured because it was more something we couldn't prepare them for. Like, we couldn't prepare them for stepping in that pothole or someone tackling them really weirdly. But in saying that, my guys are more robust to that sort of stuff still.
Absolutely. So I suppose a common theme, you made a lot of great points just then, so I suppose a common theme that you'd see is the athletes do have a decreased rate of injury from when they begin training with you and when they've been training with you for a certain amount of time, versus when maybe they first come in, like you said, maybe they come in injured and the physio sort of figured out, maybe you have a key weakness. So you definitely see, a decrease in injury with your athletes as they increase their strength, their stability, their power down the track. Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's kind of the thing, like you're addressing any weaknesses is the key to getting your performance to improve. It's simply that, because if you don't, it's what's holding you back. You might still find ways to get faster, but it's usually through compensation, by finding ways to do it that your body doesn't really want to. Say if you have really weak glutes, or say have really weak glutes, and you're having struggles to run faster, but you find another way to do it by getting your hamstrings up over work, for example. And then so your body is like awesome at compensating. So if it's not going to be working for your glutes very well, it will overuse your hamstrings to the point where your hamstrings will break down, because they're just too much.
You're doing too much. Yeah, that's an excellent point that Jason just made, guys. So compensation, the body will always find a way to compensate, right?
For sure.
Yeah, and there's only the structures that we have in our body are designed to work in a certain order, a certain set way of moving, a set firing order. And if we train correctly in the gym, I think this is huge. Because it really does decrease that chance of injury that you might see in your own athletes.
For sure. And it's just it's a hard route to take to actually find these things and then work on it, because it freaking sucks. It sucks trying to work on stuff that's weak, because it feels like shit. That's the reason why I got weak in the first place. Because you're just like, this kind of sucks, I'm not going to worry about this, and then you move on, and then you find another way to do it. but you eventually you soon learn to love it. You always love the fact that you found that weakness and that you're working on it. And because you just know that, oh shit, I found this thing that's really weak, and you know that as soon as you fix it, you're a better athlete for it.
Absolutely. So there's some great points again there. In terms of sport, so obviously we know how important it is to get in the gym and work on the weak points, because essentially you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? So if you're really weak in your low back, or you're really weak in, for example, it could be some of the glute stuff, which is really common. So that's a really important step to look at your weaknesses, and I think also really being honest with yourself, and for you as a coach, being honest with your athletes and not telling them what they want to hear, but telling them what they need to hear, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of hard. It is really tough to have a good hard look at yourself, and pretty much, I put out a post every Sunday, and it's pretty much along the lines of what could you have done better this weekend?
Honest evaluation, right?
All the time. I do it every weekend, and because I hope it just sinks in, and you do look at it and think, okay, I could have done this better, or I could have done that better. And I can't forecast myself not putting that post out there, because I think it's the way forward.
I think that's really key for anything health, performance, whatever it may be. If you're honest with yourself and you're making an honest evaluation, am I doing enough day to day? Is my recovery good enough? Am I training hard enough in the gym? Have I invested in a good coach? That's a huge one, right? Because if you're not investing in a good coach, you're probably just playing guessing games.
Yeah, dude, you know what? Invest in a bad coach.
Yeah.
Invest in someone that's going to at least give their opinion of what's going on. Like something. Because I'm telling you now, no one is actually having anyone look at them at all. They're just going out to play. Like you got your football coach or your soccer coach or whatever the sport you play. You got that coach looking at you, and that's cool. But they don't understand that you're getting weak or you're getting tight in certain areas. They don't understand that. They just understand that you're not doing so well, or you are doing well. They just see they're there to teach you to be a better football player, better soccer player, or whatever it is you do.
So they're real sport specific in their approach. They look at the technique of the sport,
exactly.
But like you said, they might be missing the underlying mechanical structure or the way that you are moving throughout other key movement patterns. They might be missing that because they just don't look at it in the first place,
For
right?
sure. And that's completely cool. Like that's their job. Their job is to make you a better at your sport. My job is to make you a better athlete. My job is not to make you a better soccer player, football player, whatever. My job is to just get you strong enough, fit enough, robust enough to actually handle your sport, and find it, just make you a better athlete.
Yeah.
And if you're a great athlete, you can go into other sports and, you can dominate in other sports. You're just being a great athlete. I mean, it'll take you a while to learn the game and all, but you're a great athlete and you'll fit anyway. But, that's my job. And your coach's job is to make you a better football player, soccer player, whatever you do.
Yeah.
So you're just going in blind most of the time. And I guarantee I know that no one's actually getting, looked at. No one's getting looked at. So no one knows what's going on with their body or anything like that.
Yeah. That's a very great point. And I made a little post about this on one of my social media channels just recently. And the point was, you don't have to wait until you're in a crisis. You don't have to wait until you're breaking down, sick, riddled with injuries, not repairing well, and then you go, oh, maybe I'm not doing something right.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is to find someone that can help you, someone that's a bit further along the path than you are, and they can offer their advice. They've been in the trenches. If you find someone that's done what you want to achieve and has achieved something similar along the lines of what you want to achieve, they're going to save you years of time, with their years of experience.
Oh, for sure.
The mistakes they've made, the coaching and investing that they have received personally.
For sure.
So the coach investment's a huge one.
Yeah, I mean, I think otherwise we're kind of just left to our parents. Our parents just think that, okay, when I was playing sport, all I did was show up on the weekend, I'd play and I'd go training, otherwise throughout the week, and that's all it takes. But, these days, I think if you with someone who's been a great athlete at some point in time, and then they understand what it takes to get to the top level, and then they understand that you do need strength and conditioning. They do understand that you need to recover, so massage, you need to sleep well, you need to eat a lot, all that sort of stuff. All that stuff like just isn't. It's really underrated right now, especially with young guys, and I couldn't blame them because you don't feel like you need it, and and then all of a sudden you wake up like, fuck man, my body's so screwed over.
I'm in pain all the time now. I know it's that's a really important point that you just made. I think then Jace was. It's not the athlete that can train the hardest because everyone can train hard if they've done the other things, the prior things, the preparation correct. Like you said, if they've slept well, have you slept well? Has your diet good? You've got enough rest. You're managing your stress. That's a huge thing for athletic endeavors. It's very common for athletes, not necessarily overtraining, but I think under recovering is massive out there.
Yeah, man. It really, the hard thing is to recover. You know what I mean? That's why athletes take steroids and performance enhancing drugs, but you could argue to say that it's not performance enhancing, it's more performance recovery drug, because it just makes you recover a lot faster, and that's why everyone does it. So, and if they're willing to risk their career just to recover faster, they will just do whatever it takes to recover faster, so they can train some more. Anyone can train. Training's easy. Anyone can go out and train. It's hard to do. It's hard to recover though. So and that's what you'll find out. You'll find that your body can only take so much. And so these guys are taking steroids to just recover a little bit faster, so they can go out and play again. It doesn't just taking the steroid. Doesn't just make you run faster all of a sudden or make you stronger all of a sudden. What it does is it just allows you to do more of what you need to do to become a great athlete. So they still have to put in all the hard work to do it, but they have to do it by taking drugs. And if they are risking their career to do that, then I think that just sort of brings home the importance of recovery.
Absolutely.
And I guarantee you, they are getting massages, they're sleeping enough, they're eating enough, they're doing every single thing they can to recover, and they still need to recover more. So you as an athlete can really just do the very simple thing of just like eating, sleeping, massage, just everything possible to recover. Then you'll be on top. Like that's the game changer.
I think that's a great point to make to any athlete or anyone that's really active in general that wants to be the best version of themselves. It's not what you do in the 1 hour or 2 hours a day that you're training. Obviously, that is really important. Having good people around you, having a good coach, that's super important. But it's what you do in the other 22, 23 hours of the day that I think is super vital. Because if you're not recovering, you're going to go into your next workout already fatigued, already tired, and you're just not going to get the results. It's going to be a downward spiral of you're not adapting to the demands of the workout. And then things get nasty from there. You might cop an injury, you might tear a muscle or anything along those lines. You're much more, the more stressed you are and the less you're recovering, you're much more likely to cop something like a disc injury in your back. Because you weren't ready for the sport. You might have needed a few more days rest and you've gone out on game day just underprepared. I think also it's a really important link, and you have to look at it, the link between health and the link between high performance. Because without sound health, I don't think you can really have true high performance that might last for a 15-year career or something like that. And trust me, it's hard to get good health because your sport and health are not synonymous. Sport is not inducive of good health. Sport breaks you down, makes playing football on the weekend, running at each other is not healthy. You're unhealthing yourself. You're getting worse. You're getting more. Your body's getting torn apart by playing on the weekend. And so that's why it's so key to kind of
improve your health. It's just like you can get on top of like of your eating, sleeping, getting your body a chance to recover so it can be healthy, so you can play.
Yeah.
That's so important. And so remember that when you send your kids out to play sport, it's not healthy. It's not. And although it has some health attributes, like you are fit, you are generally less likely to get sick and things like that when you're fit, but you do get a certain amount of strength out of sport also. Flexibility and stuff can come along with it, but then can also not. But that's where it happens. It's like you do get less flexible, you do get less, you do start to get little niggly injuries and things like that. So yeah, I totally agree. You really got to sit back and worry about food and nutrition and stuff like that. Just get your body to recover from that beating that you give it.
That's right.
And that's gym training as well. Like gym will really, strength and conditioning training will just help you handle that. Like if I tell them this story a lot. I got one guy who's been training me for a few years now, and he was running at his opposite player, so the same height, same weight roughly, and they run square at each other, and there was a big clap, and that's how like impactful this tackle was. And my guy got up, he was sore shoulder, a couple of weeks, and he was fine. The other guy got taken off, and he was not seen again. And then that was supposed to be an all weekend kind of thing. My guy was just better prepared to handle the impacts of the sport. So I think there's anything to take away from that, like strength and conditioning and just recovering in time can just help you handle the sport a lot better.
Absolutely, yeah. Intelligent strength and conditioning.
Yeah.
Not just getting in there and I think a lot of athletes have a really high work ethic, which is what makes them good athletes.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've got to get in touch with your body and say, do I feel ready? Should I have a little bit of a lighter day today, perhaps? And just be able to modulate that. Talk to yourself, talk to your coach. Because sometimes what's written on paper is a game plan, as your programming plan, and how your body is adapting to that. It's not always. You can't always follow a strict plan written on paper. Yeah. I think sometimes you've just got to modulate it week by week.
And that's the guide. And any strength coach will tell you that. It's just the guide. This is what, best case scenario, if everything's gone good, this would work just fine. But that's sort of the case. More often is that it's likely that we just do get run down because we had an assignment due, so we stayed up a bit late doing that assignment, and we're stressing about the assignment. That also fatigues the body, but we can't, as strength and conditioning coaches, program that. We just got to, when it happens, we've got to just adapt to it and then change things. Yeah, and that's why it's important to then have someone looking at you from a subjective point, from a bigger picture sort of point of view, and then look at what's actually going on and make that decision for you. Because you when you're in the thick of it, you're too involved to sort of really know what's going on. And that's why you need someone from that standpoint to kind of come and look at you and be like, okay, dude, like you need to back off.
That's right.
Or you need to step your game up because you're being lazy as shit. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a very important point. Is someone to have a subjective look at you, someone that's experienced, that's been there and done that, and they know. Or maybe you've got too much other stress in other areas of your life, like you mentioned, or maybe your nutrition's not on point, or maybe we just need to take a deload week this week, and then from there we'll re-ramp it up next week.
Exactly.
And I think that's vital. Because otherwise you'll end up in that downward spiral of not recovering. So you're not getting results in the gym. So what do? Oh, I'm not getting the results I want. I'm going to push harder and lift more weight.
Dig yourself a bigger hole.
Dig yourself a bigger hole. Recovery becomes harder. You become more adrenally stressed, more taxed in that regard. And then you might, for example, once you're not repairing other body systems, other systems might come into play with that. A common one with athletes is digestive health.
Right.
So the amount of athletes that have not listened to their body for a number of years and suddenly now they're having digestive health issues is huge. So we've got to really, stress management is the overall principle, and you've just got to make sure, like we said, you're repairing. So we'll just hit maybe 1 or 2 more points before we finish up today. So with athletes in the gym, Jace, what are some core movement patterns that you think almost every athlete should be doing in the gym?
Alright, so it's the squat, the bench, and the deadlift, and I think they're the very basics. If you can do those things, other things sort of branch off of those. So if you can squat, that leads into other things like if you want to do a thruster, that's what you squat and a press. But you can't do a squat or a thruster if you can't squat at the beginning. But what's really important about these exercises is that it's a really good predictor of what's actually going on in your body. So if you squat and your knees are flailing around and you got no control over that, what that sort of tells me is that there's a good chance that you've got really weak hips or really weak core, and then we found this and then we can work upon that. But if we never actually did these exercises, we wouldn't know that. And you know what, the exercise is also the cure to the thing as well. So if you can squat really well and keep your knees really steady, if you just teach your body to do that, you'll find that will have a really good chance of carrying over to your running. Because if you're running and your knees are going like this and they're just flopping about, then you're losing power. That's what I call like a power leak.
Yeah,
because you've got instead of having all the force running forward, and you've got it tracking in, you'll see it all the time. Athletes' legs are kind of like not going straight, but rather they're sort of coming in like this. Then what we're sort of seeing is that the power's going side to side, your hips and your core's most likely moving side to side a lot, and you're losing all this potential power that could be throwing you forward. And just simply squatting and squatting well can really fix all that. You can really have a good understanding of if you're squatting and your arms really sticking out, there's a good chance your core's really weak, and because your core's weak, your glutes end up being really weak. But and then if you improve the strength of your squat, then you'll find that your force development's getting greater also. But the reason, so that's kind of like the performance aspects of it. But as far as like keeping your body well rounded and all together, I think that we'll have basically what they'll do is that basically if I squat really well, then I know my hips and my core and everything's all really good. If I can deadlift really well, I know my back, my glutes, my hamstrings, my core are really strong. If I can bench, I know that my shoulder health is really good and stability is great through there, and there's a good chance you're not going to get injured. I know a lot of people don't like doing bench and stuff like that because they feel like, oh, what's this got to do with my sport? But it does. It has a lot to do with the sport, because if staying not injured is the biggest part of the sport. So I love it for those reasons. 1, performance. 2, because it just keeps your body healthy. And,
Absolutely.
So that's always the core, the very base of the program. And then we build up off of that, because you get huge amounts of performance improvements just through those exercises. But then you can also then after that, you start to put in little things that you need. Like you might have problems in tackling, because you can't handle that very well. We can make special exercises to improve that, and then that's basically how our program works. It's just you start the core, you do smaller accessory exercises and sort of special exercises to help with whatever you're struggling with in your sport. But that's the base. That's so important.
Absolutely. You hit a great number of points there, Jason. And I think you really hit the nail on the head where you said that things like the squat and the deadlift and your bench and maybe things like chin-ups as well, they're actually a diagnostic tool for a skilled coach as well. They tell you a lot about what might be happening, where you lack control, where you lack proprioception, knowing where you are in space, or where you're lacking just basic strength even as well. And I think that's huge. I use the squat as a diagnostic tool. I just have a look at the way someone squats and I go, okay, we might need to investigate something a bit further here. What's limiting the squat? Is it something in the hip? Is it something in the foot and the ankle? Or is it that abdominal control? And another great point that you made was abdominal control. Everyone thinks of core training as let's sit on the floor and do 300 crunches a day.
Yeah.
But if you can lift a heavy deadlift and lift a heavy squat, guess what? You've got good core control.
For sure.
If your form is nice, you know, your core control is there. So I think that's a huge point for the athlete and also for the everyday trainer.
Yeah.
Don't think of abs as just being an isolated section of your body that you just work in, you know, just work in 15 degrees of spine flexion. There are actually, if you can lift a heavy deadlift with good form, there's a whole huge amount of core control that has to go on.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important thing. People are scared to lift heavy. And obviously technique is prerequisite for lifting heavy. But yeah, there's huge benefits from mastering those lifts.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of comes down to that power leak thing I was talking about before, whereas you've got this section of spine called your lumbar that has there's nothing else there to assist it to sort of stay stable and strong other than the muscles, because they're just a row of muscles. There's five.
5 lumbar,
and so they're basically there, and they can be very unstable. But if you have a look at your thoracic region, that's supported by the ribs. Then you've got your cervical, and that's sort of like, that's another huge thing that no one really looks at is neck strength. But then you can also look down the chain a little bit, and you've got your pelvis supporting that lower part of the spine also. So those tend to be a little bit more stable and a little bit stronger. But your lumbar spine is just there wailing around doing whatever if there's no core stability. And that's what core strength is your ability to stabilize that midsection.
Absolutely.
And arguably you could say no matter how strong your core is, there's still going to be some movement going on, but the least amount of movement in your core, the better. Because if you're running and you're moving around a lot, like I said before, that really sort of looks at that's really going to be you losing a lot of power. And if you want to improve your performance by doing squats or deadlifts or anything like that, and you're bending through your back, you're going to be losing a lot of power there as well. And a good example of that is if I gave you a crowbar to wedge something open, the crowbar is going to be a lot more useful than a piece of bamboo that if you tried doing the same thing that it bent, then it wouldn't. You're putting in the same amount of power, but you're getting a lot less out because it's not as rigid. So if you can increase your rigidity of your spine, then you'll find that your power output, if you're tackling or if you're throwing a punch, or if you're doing basically anything, hitting a ball, like playing tennis, or if you're a lot stronger throughout midsection, your transfer of force is going to be a lot greater.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Your core training should essentially look like that. It should be looking like your ability to stabilize. So I think stuff like planks, I know they suck, but they're pretty good because that's just about you stabilizing and holding. But then there's better ones. You got like farmer's carries. Farmer's carries are awesome. Farmer's carries are simply where you grab a weight or a trap bar and or a hex bar, and you're just basically walking through that thing and trying not to have any movement going on, but rather just stay as stable and strong as possible. And that will train your core to be super strong and stable for when you go to do stuff. Dude, if you're walking around with over your body weight, so like if you weigh 100 kilos and you're walking around with close to 200 kilos in your hands, there is no one going to be tackling you that easy. Like
that's right.
You're just going to be so freaking strong and stable that it'd take a strong person to overcome you. Like that's the best way to train core.
I think that's again some excellent points that you just made. So the spine itself, the lumbar spine, the vertebrae, they're not weight bearing columns. If you just stack them up on top of each other and had the ligaments, they wouldn't take much weight, but it's all the abdominal wall stuff, or the deep abdominal wall, and then your obliques, your rec abs. That's what gives you stability, linking those deep abdominal wall muscles and tying it into the glutes. And like you said, a lot of people like to talk about the term functional exercise. Like how many times has that been thrown out there? Was it a functional exercise? But in terms of the strongman type exercise, Jace, you were talking about farmer's carries. If you've got a lot of load here and you've got to hold this load and walk, that's an integrative exercise. That's a full body head to toe exercise, and you've got to stabilize. So I think everyone out there, you should really change the way that you think about, the way we're being conditioned to think about abdominal training as just isolation-based stuff. You know, if you're going through rehab, maybe you might have to do some isolation-based stuff.
Yep.
Eventually, you've got to reintegrate anyway. So you've got to bring it back to the full body stuff.
Yeah.
So I think this, we've gone through a lot of great points today, mate.
Yeah.
So we might end it up here.
Okay.
Is there anything else that you'd like to finish with saying to our people watching at home?
Yeah. So remember, there's a lot of the current trend of Australia right now is that we're sending kids in to play sport over specialized, which means that they can play the sport, they can play a position really well, but they are underprepared to do it. So they can do it, they can play the sport really well, but their body is not ready to take the impacts that they're taking. So that's going to be the next evolution, in my opinion, of sports performance in Australia. And I really believe that once we get to the point where everyone is preparing their body to play the sport, and then we're going to see a huge increase in like the level of professional sport later on down the track of Australia. Like, it's going to blow up as soon as we get these kids going into their sport and they're being really well prepared for it. Then they're going to be animals. Like, you're going to have kids out there that are just not going to be getting injured. They're going to be playing at an extremely high level. And then when they get to the top level, their bodies are going to be so well put together that they're not going to have a lot of niggly small injuries because their body's so well prepared. You know, we all know that one kid that we grew up with that should have been an awesome athlete, but because they got injured, they just never got to the top. They just kept getting hamstring tears, or they kept getting something, and that really held them back. But you know, this is the next step, and I really would urge you to understand this, but then get on board early, like really early.
Absolutely.
You know, like, do all this stuff now, and it makes such a huge difference. And you know what? Worst case scenario, you or your son or your daughter don't end up being professional athletes, but at the end of the day, their body's still really in really good health, and having done strength and conditioning and stuff like that, they're going to understand how to train in the gym when they're older, and I think that's really important too. So otherwise, they just end up stop playing sport, and then that's it. They just don't know how to keep themselves healthy otherwise. So I would just say get on board with this sort of stuff a bit as early as possible, because it's gonna be huge.
Absolutely.
Really big.
Absolutely. So you've heard it today, guys. So we covered heaps of great points today. Being honest with yourself, getting healthy, care about your health, how you sleep and rest and recover, invest in a good coach, and really just follow. Get strong, get stable, get strong, get assessed, get regular treatment, and then you don't have to wait for the crisis and the big injury to say, how can I do things better? Because you're already being an intelligent athlete or an intelligent mover from the very start.
Yeah, totally agree.
All right, so we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, Jace.
No worries, man.
Cheers,
Thanks for having
mate.
me.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching, guys.